Want to make your IELTS or TOEFL essays and letters sound more natural and precise? In this guide, you'll first get 50 phrasal verbs with clear meanings and exam-ready examples. Then, we'll look at the common mistakes students make and, more importantly, how to avoid them. And finally, you can test your knowledge with a short quiz at the end. Ready to level up your writing? Let's begin. A quick but important note. Remember to use phrasal verbs carefully in academic writing. Often, a single, more formal word is a better choice. But many phrasal verbs are perfectly neutral and incredibly useful for describing things like cause, result, or method. And here we go with the list. Sum up. To give a brief conclusion. Example: to sum up, the data strongly supports the original hypothesis. Set out. To present or explain something clearly. Example: the report sets out the 3 main causes for this economic trend. Spell out. Explain in detail. Example: the author spells out the policy's strengths and weaknesses. Lay out. Arrange or present facts or ideas clearly. Example: the report lays out the steps taken during the experiment. Add up to, amount to, result in a total effect. Example: these factors add up to a substantial increase in costs. Bear out, support or confirm. Evidence supports a claim. Example: recent surveys bear out the claim that online learning is growing. Narrow down, reduce choices or focus on fewer items. Example: we narrowed down the possible explanations to 2. Flesh out. Add detail to a plan or argument. Example: the student fleshed out the idea with statistical data. Draw on. Use information or experience as a source. Example: the essay draws on several case studies. Draw up. Prepare a formal document or plan. Example: the team drew up a short protocol for the experiment. Write up. Produce a written report or summary. Example: after data collection, she wrote up her findings. Follow up. Take further action to develop an idea. Example: the author followed up the initial study with a new survey. Pull together. Bring information from different sources into one summary. Example: he pulled together examples from 3 countries to compare outcomes. Boil down to. Reduce to the essential point. Example: the argument boils down to a question of resource allocation. Zero in on. Focus closely on a single aspect. Example: the analysis zeroes in on urban migration patterns. Tack on. Add a small piece or remark at the end. Example: the writer tacked on a brief note about methodology. Weigh up. Evaluate pros and cons. Example: we need to weigh up the economic and social benefits. Sign off on. Formally approve a plan or document. Example: the committee signed off on the final draft. Flag up. Highlight or draw attention to an issue. Example: the report flags up several methodological problems. Map out. Plan or describe a sequence in detail. Example: the introduction maps out the steps of the argument. Touch on. Mention briefly. Example: the conclusion touches on directions for future research. Hone in on. Direct attention to the most important detail. Example: this paragraph hones in on the policy's main shortcomings. Act on. Take action based on information. Example: these findings allowed policymakers to act on new evidence. Build on. Use existing work as a foundation. Example: This study builds on earlier research from 2018. Size up. Assess or judge the importance of something. Example: researchers size up the advantages and disadvantages. Put forward. Present an idea or argument. Example: the author puts forward 3 possible explanations. Point up. Emphasize or make something clear. Example: the data point up the regional differences. Factor in. Include something as a consideration. Example: we must factor in inflation when comparing costs. Run parallel to. Occur at the same time or in a similar way. Example: these trends run parallel to demographic shifts. Roll out. Introduce or implement a policy or program. Example: the government rolled out the scheme nationwide. Lock in. Secure or fix a choice or value. Example: the contract locks in the current exchange rate. Call for. Demand or require. Example: the report calls for stricter environmental standards. End up with. Result in a particular situation or consequence. Example: without intervention, the economy may end up with higher unemployment. Slot in. Place a new item into a sequence or structure. Example: this paragraph slots in after the literature review. Phase in. Introduce gradually. Example: the policy will be phased in over 2 years. Phase out. Remove gradually. Example: older fuels are being phased out in favor of renewables. Ramp up. Increase intensity or volume. Example: manufacturers ramped up production to meet demand. Branch out. Expand into new areas. Example: the program branched out to include adult learners. Pull from. Take material or evidence from a source. Example: the essay pulls examples from recent research papers. Refer back to. Return the reader to an earlier point. Example: refer back to Figure 2 for supporting evidence. Tie. In with. Be consistent or connected with. Example: these results tie in with previous international studies. Key in/key in data. Enter data, record information. Example: the assistant keyed in the survey responses. Pick out, select, or identify. Example: pick out 3 main trends from the table. Weed out, remove unwanted items from a set. Example: we weeded out incomplete survey responses. Set about, begin to do something methodically. Example: the team set about analyzing the raw data. Filter out, remove irrelevant information. Example: the software filters out duplicate entries. Work through, handle items step by step. Example: she worked through each example in the appendix. Sort through, examine items to organize or decide. Example: we sorted through hundreds of responses to find patterns. Track down, find information by searching. Example: the researcher tracked down the original source. Follow through, complete or carry out an action or promise. Example: it is important to follow through with recommended reforms. Now, let's talk about common pitfalls and how you can easily avoid them. First up, formality mismatch. Some phrasal verbs are just too informal for a formal essay. If the task is academic, it's often safer to use a single word verb. For example, use omit instead of leave out. Next, using the wrong particle. A tiny change can completely change the meaning. Phase in and phase out are opposites, so always learn the phrasal verb as one complete unit. Another mistake is overusing them. Don't stack multiple phrasal verbs in one paragraph. It sounds unbalanced. The key is to mix them with your other, more formal vocabulary. Also, watch out for collocation errors. This means some verbs only sound natural with certain nouns. The best way to learn this? Practice with full example sentences. And finally, don't forget tense and voice. You must use the correct grammar. Sometimes, for formality, you'll even need the passive voice. For example, the policy was phased out last year. Remember, official bodies like the British Council say that neutral phrasal verbs are perfectly acceptable, as long as you use them correctly. Alright, quiz time! Answer questions 1 through 4 now. Question 5 is for the comments. I'll pin the correct answer there a bit later. Question 1, an easy one to start. The conclusion should briefly blank the essay's main points. Your options are A. Pull together, B. Pull out, C. Pull up, or D. Pull off. The correct answer is A. Pull together. Pull together means to gather or summarize items into one coherent conclusion. The others have different meanings, like withdraw, raise, or succeed in doing something. Question 2, medium difficulty. If the government introduces a plan slowly over a year, it will blank the policy. Is it A, roll out, B, roll up, C, roll in, or D, roll over? And the answer is A, roll out. That's the phrase that means to launch or introduce a program gradually. The other options just don't fit. Here's a medium hard one. To reduce the data set to the most relevant cases, the team decided to blank duplicates and incomplete entries. Your choices: A, weed out, B, weed in, C, weed up, D, weed through. You got it, A, weed out. It means to remove unwanted or low-quality items. The other choices aren't standard phrasal verbs used in this context. An author who uses other studies as background material will typically previous research. Is it A, draw on, B, draw off, C, draw up, or D, draw through? The correct one is A, draw on. It means to use existing sources or experience. It's different from draw up, which means to prepare a document. The survey's findings a clear link between income and study time. The analysis will the possible causes. The options are A, point up / spell out, B, point up / spell up, C, point out / spell out, or D, point to / spell out. I want you to put your answer for question 5 down in the comments below. This one really tests collocation and particle choice. Here's a great study tip for you. Take 10 minutes to write a short paragraph using 5 of these verbs. Then try replacing 2 of them with single-word formal synonyms. This trains your flexibility between formal and neutral registers. Next up is episode 5, where we'll cover the top 50 phrasal verbs for IELTS and TOEFL listening and reading. If you found this useful, please watch the full episode. Hit like, subscribe to GlassLingo, comment your sentence for question 5, and share this with a study partner.